This is the Ring of Honor, aka Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Rock, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
What up, though? It's almost Friday, bitches, and thank God for that, because, man, did I have a long weekend. I just got back from Chicago doing the whole AEW All Out thing. We'll talk about that a little bit, but, you know, with it saying it's almost Friday, and it's almost Friday, bitches, we got the return of our guy, James Campbell, JC, of Dave and Chuck the Freak 101, the Riff. How you doing, brother, man? It's been a minute since you've been on the show. How are you?
I know, man. It's been a while, but I've been doing good, you know. Adjusting to the dad life, you know, had a baby just about a year ago, and
congratulations.
You know, thank you. Just you know, been getting used to you know, having to take care of a little guy, and you know, pretty much staying up late goodbye, and a lot of the social life and video games and all that stuff. But you know, it's hard to you know, find the time to get on here and join you guys as often as I'd like. But I'm glad we're able to connect today.
Well, we're glad for the time. We're thankful for you to come back. J-Bone isn't with us because he's right now at Pine Knob. We'll see if he gets rained out again, because the last time we went to Pine Knob, well, no, it didn't get rained out for Jelly Roll, but it got rained out for Avenged Sevenfold. So we'll see if he survives Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie out there. But in the meantime, dude, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. As I said, I just got back from Chicago. You also had WWE Payback, which I'm going to ask you your thoughts on that as well. And you had the firing of CM Punk, which we're going to get into that as well. And, I mean, dude, I like to fancy myself a guy who does my research and all those kind of things. I was looking through the YouTube channel, and, man, some of the shit that you try, man, your taste buds, man, they got to be, like, on 10 at all times.
Oh, in terms of, like, food? Yeah, I mean, the weirder the snack, the more I want to try it. The more I want to taste it. Like, what does it really taste like? Does it taste like the stuff that it's claiming, you know, to taste like? And if it does, is it any good? Like, is it something I'd want to buy again? And I guess a lot of people like to watch those videos because that's what I find to be the most successful in terms of content that I post on YouTube and stuff, is videos like that. Just taste testing, especially Taco Bell. Everybody knows I'm a Taco Bell fanboy. So you know, they know I'll have something to say about the new items that come out that I try. But yeah, man, it's fun. It's interesting. Sometimes you get some stuff that's gross that you want to throw up in your mouth a little bit, and there's some stuff that you're like, wow, I did not expect that to be as good as it really was.
So what's the weirdest thing we've tried lately is the question.
Lately, oh man, I'm trying to think.
Or the one that you just tasted the weirdest, where you were just like, what the fuck, man?
I mean, the most recent weird thing, I don't know what kind of language I can use, but
anything you want.
Okay, there's potato chips from, I don't know which country it is, I forget, but it's vagina. It's pussy flavored potato chips. They actually make potato chips that are supposed to taste like the anatomy of a woman. So that was weird. And then I was jokingly saying I'm going to make a fake bag of dick flavored potato chips, and I'm going to say I tried those as well. I didn't need to pretend. The same company later came out with dick flavored potato chips. So those are the two weird ones that I've tried, probably the most recently, within like the last year. And I'll try stuff from all different countries, you name it, man. Like if it's interesting, I'm down to give it a whirl. I do a lot of different flavors of pops and or soda, whatever you want to call it.
I saw that. So what's the thoughts on the Pineapple Pepsi, bro? I like Pepsi, but I don't know about Pineapple Pepsi.
Pineapple Pepsi, I mean, it tastes like Pepsi as you're drinking it. The aftertaste gives you a very strong pineapple flavor, like a natural pineapple flavor. It was fun to try. You know, if I'm making a cocktail, maybe I'm gonna put a little rum. You know, it might be a good like mixer, but it's probably not like a regular flavor I'm going to. But you know, smart move on Little Caesar's part though to come out with that, especially with all the controversy over pineapple on pizzas. Where do you guys stand on that? You guys do pineapple on the pizza?
I don't mind it. I used to not do it, but I can do it.
Okay.
I am somebody that just enjoyed a lovely pineapple pizza over the weekend, actually.
Okay, there you go.
That's
See,
how
I think
committed
pineapple. I think pineapple's fine on a pizza.
I have no problem with it.
You
I
know?
used to not be like a pineapple on pizza guy, but then I don't know. I don't know if it's like something I acquired as I got older or.
Most
See,
people,
there it goes already
they
in the
shit on
comments.
it.
See,
Shit
shout
on it
out
until
to the
they
Wrestle
try
Talk
it, you know?
Wolfpack. Pineapple definitely belongs on pizza.
There
All
we go.
right.
Good. That's good news. So
We have diverse listeners here on knockouts and 3 counts. I had to know.
You know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to stab you over it or shoot you over it like some people these days. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then I'm not going to share my pineapple pizza with you. It's more for me.
Apparently,
Right.
it is
It's
that
so
big
simple.
of a deal to people.
Yeah.
So, the other one that got me is Kit Kat cereal. Now, that sounds like that would be fucking delicious.
Yeah, it was just okay. And it was just okay. But yeah, I mean,
Damn.
I think it's almost better as just like a snack, like a dry snack, like a chip. I felt like I was eating like candy bar flavored snacks when I ate it dry. When I sampled it dry. I thought it was really good. I almost felt like adding it to the milk kind of took away from it. It almost felt like, but if you're a kid and you got Kit Kat cereal, you're gonna eat the crap out of it regardless. The only people who are gonna like be critiquing it or like not just enjoying it because it's Kit Kat cereal are adults or people who are weird and put videos up on YouTube of you eating it. So anybody else is probably like, yeah, hell yeah, it's a candy bar cereal. Bring on the diabetes.
I feel with so much of that stuff as somebody who has now became a ex cereal eater. I feel like a lot of it is
ex cereal eater. I've watched you eat a shit ton of cereal.
Yeah, every night of my existence, basically until I made it till about 29. Now that I'm a 30-year-old grown man, it just fucks with my stomach. It seems like it's made for the kiddos, like you said.
It's the dairy. It's all that dairy. You can't do the milk.
Well, also the dairy, but
the dairy fucks me up.
Try some of that lactate-free milk, and maybe you'll be right back on the cereal bus.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to finish out the point with. Was I feel like it's the cereal itself.
Really?
I still do all the yogurts and all the dumb stuff, all the other dairy products. I deal with cheese on a more than daily basis, I'd say with. But that being said, it's just like the cereals themselves do not hold up to the expectations that I perceive in my head. You walk down that aisle, like you said, with the Kit Kat, cereal and stuff like that. I'm always walking through there with the kids. What do you guys want? And I'll look through there myself, and I'm like, man, some of these sound amazing. I know not a single one of them is going to live up to the expectation, though.
We want the chocolate brownie. We want the chocolate brownie cereal, Dad.
Yeah. I don't know if that's just me or is that also somebody who's out there trying food on a YouTube basis. I feel like for me, live up to expectation anymore.
I think it's all about the milk. I feel like because I'll eat like a bowl of cereal before bed as like a dessert,
Yep, that's what.
And you can almost set a stopwatch to it, and 1:30 in the morning, I'm going to be dropping it like it's hot in the bathroom, And I think to me that's the milk. So I guess I haven't really sat down to do any like thorough studies on, does Count Chocula make me crap myself more than, Lucky Charms? And is it, does it have anything to do with the green milk? Because some of those cereals turn your milk green. Or is it just regular cereal? So I feel like it's the milk, but I've always my body's always fluctuated up and down with like milk's good, milk is bad. Like through junior high, I'd have cereal.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. With Crohn's disease, that's my problem with me being a kid that loved ice cream. When I was younger, I could eat ice cream, but I always knew there was the chance that it could go bad. Now, as I've gotten older, it's like you almost eat it with the expectation of knowing that it's going to be bad. And, to go on to what's going on in the comments, I mean, I agree with that. The cereals that you don't have that don't necessarily need milk. Like for me, I was a big Crunch Berries guy as a kid. Like Crunch Berries, I could sit there and eat that shit right out the box. But like
soggy Crunch Berries, so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, I can eat it both ways. I'm just saying that one I could literally eat that shit out the box.
You sound like you're looking your way into tearing up your mouth a little bit. That's what I'm hearing right
Well, I'm saying that because she said only cereal I can handle eating is the Oreo cereal because I don't need
those
milk
are
for that.
legit.
So
the Oreo ones are not too terrible.
that's
I'll
why I
give it
said
that.
like Crunch Berries is doable without it, but you're right. It might get your roof of your mouth a little bit, but I mean, but with that,
Like
with
chewing
that
on
being,
fiberglass.
yeah, but as a kid, we
Yeah.
didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
As I got older, I realized that, but as a kid, I didn't give a shit. But with that being said, dude, you got to tell me. Obviously, it's been a minute since we've had you on the show. We've talked about some of the food that you've been eating over there on your channel. But what's new, obviously, with what you do in your day job with Dave and Chuck the Freak 101 the Riff, dude. Like I said, I check you guys out every Friday. I'm hearing it's Friday, bitches.
Yeah,
Tell
man.
me what's new in the world of Dave and Chuck the Freak, man.
Dude, Dave and Chuck the Freak show's doing, we're doing well. We're still finding some success in the markets we're in right now. Still looking to expand. I don't know. I can't recall how long ago it's been since we've chatted, but we're on in Vegas now. We air in Vegas live at certain hours in the morning, and then they replay the show later in the afternoon.
Let's go.
We're on in Indiana, Saginaw, Michigan. We're on in I think North Carolina, South Carolina, one of the Carolinas, I believe, is Columbia, whatever. I believe that's the city we're on.
At Jim Crockett.
And I don't think we have any affiliation with the wrestling league, but wrestling promotion. But yeah, man, show's doing really good, and we're still kicking every morning, trying to get everybody's asses up and out of bed and get the workday started with some LOLs instead of some of the bad news and the misery that everybody's talking about all the time.
So
go ahead. I could only imagine what you were just saying, bringing that energy early in the morning like that to bring on to a radio show like that to basically bring people through their morning to instill some energy through the airwaves.
Yeah, it requires a lot of energy drinks. We'll tell you that. Lots of energy drinks. But no, really, it's like you just know, like you can come in and kind of be in a crap mood or whatever, but like you're going to do a show. You're coming in, Dave's going to have some sort of crazy, wild stories to talk about and videos to react to. So it's once you get in there and like you're with the crew, the chemistry's there, and it's time to turn on. You're on. So like I'm sure like even with you guys when you're doing the Knockouts and 3 Count show, I'm sure there's days it's like 7:45, 8 o'clock. You're like, oh man, we gotta go do the show. Kind of tired, but Kyle was just out at in Chicago. He's got some great clips from all these wrestlers, and you kind of hype yourself up, and then you're ready, you put on the game face and you give it a go. Some days might not be as witty, might not be as on as you'd like. Some of the jokes might be falling flat, but then you make fun of that, the fact of that, So it's always good times, for the most part.
So with that being said, that's one of my favorite parts of Dave and Chuck the Freak is just the dumb shit that comes up as far as stories. And I say dumb shit in the best of ways because it's just stuff that you're not expecting for. So with that being said,
who would expect a news story of somebody getting a hammer stuck in their butt? Who would have thought the news is going to send out a reporter at the hospital live on the scene, for the hammer removal type thing? It's just stuff like that. Like, why is this the thing? And thankfully it is, so we can make fun of it and help.
I was going to ask what the craziest one you've had lately is, but I mean, a hammer up the butt for no reason sounds like a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, that was just pulling out of thin air. So the last thing we've done that really made me laugh, like almost passing out on the mic. Dave had a video. This happened in like a Chinese public pool in China, and there was a guy swimming, and he poops, and so as he's swimming, he poops. And he pulls the Speedo down and like releases the log. And then as that's happening, there's already a guy in the same lane. Like they're in a pool, like an Olympic pool with the lanes, And so there's a guy behind him swimming full speed, not realizing that the other dude just let out a brown shark. And the music that is behind it is like the most perfect turd swimming music you've ever heard. I think it's a Dave and Chuck the Freak peep show. You got to check out the Dave and Chuck the Freak YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dave and Chuck the Freak. and I think it'll say like turd swimming or turd music. I forget exactly the title, but if you watch One Peep Show, go watch that one, because I almost passed out laughing so hard. The music goes perfectly with Chuck's lyrics the lyrics of the song is just turd with a turd. Hilarious. So that's probably one of the weirdest ones, one of the most hilarious ones we've covered in a while, or at least it's gotten, giving me the chuckle guts. Like that's the thing, you'll laugh a lot, but when you get those stories or those videos where you're like gasping for air, debating on, do I text my wife to have her bring my emergency inhaler, or can I make it? Like those are the good ones.
Sounds like we got another good one. I've always been a fan of the zookeeper in China who licked a baby monkey's butthole.
Yep, that's a story that we've covered as well. Yeah. Somebody who's very devoted to the job, or just really likes.
I was gonna say, who takes the time to write a fucking story about this stuff is my question. Not only who's like the cops or whoever who goes to have to deal with this, but the people who take the time to cover this shit. It's like, who takes the time to do that?
The world needs to know some of these things, man. The world needs to know.
There was a story they covered in Florida. A woman called the news because an animal, a random animal, was pooping on her sidewalk. So they sent a news reporter out, and they discovered it was a turtle, and she knew the turtle. And they discovered that's what who was leaving the turds on her sidewalk in her doorstep.
It turned
turtle
out the
turds.
whole time there was a mysterious turtle.
Yeah,
it would have never been busted if it wasn't.
Man,
for that.
Franklin just needed to take a shit, and you got in his way, lady. Way to go. Yeah. Way to go. But
present, and you stepped in.
I know, man. You just don't want to step. I don't want to step in that. She could step in that. But I mean, that being said, man, one of the things that we were talking about beforehand, I know you're not going to be there, but Corey and I will be there along with J-Bone, is we got Riff Fest is coming up, bro.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah.
It's going to be a pretty good lineup from what I see. You got Bad Flower, Bad Omens, and I Prevail. But it's going to be a badass show to go along with the rest of the bads.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great lineup this year. Unfortunately, but it falls on the same date as my son's first birthday, so I won't be able to rock out with him this year. Yeah, so got to watch her smash that chocolate cake. I Prevail will come back around again soon. We'll see them. We'll see those guys then. But they always put on a hell of a show, and I believe they have Rival Sons were added to that lineup.
They do.
Yeah,
they
Rival
do.
Sons
and
will
then
be
it
there.
says Giovanni and the Hired Guns, and is that everybody? Yeah, and then so the rest.
There's a second stage. So there'll be some bands performing. Usually,
Tiger Cub, Broken Love, and Des Rocks. That looks like the entire thing. But looks like the four main ones that everybody's coming for. You got I Prevail, Bad Omens, Bad Flower, Rival Sons. I'm looking forward to it because it's my last hurrah before I turn 31. Shit, I'm officially into my 30s. I'm getting old in this motherfucker.
Uh-oh, look out.
I'm getting old in this motherfucker, man, especially because my nephew's birthday is literally a week later and his little ass is already 2. It's, yeah, dude. Time goes by too quick. But that's why
with ibuprofen or aspirin all the time for all those little aches and pains.
Shit, I got Crohn's disease. I already got to have my own fucking pill assortment. With that being, with that said, though, we're still making it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Bree says she's looking forward to that.
Awesome. It's gonna be a great show, dude. Riff knows what they're doing, man. They've been a station in this city for a long time. They're legends in the active rock radio world. People who are in the industry know of the station. They know.
Damn, this guy's 31. Fuck yeah, the years have been hard. Damn, that's cold blooded.
That's how man out. That's how he rolls.
It's all good, bro.
He gives it to you straight. So
fuck it. At least the ID still says I'm 31. And at least then they shouldn't be carding me. But for me looking old, then shit, I still I still get carded, so I guess that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, but if I was working at the 7-Eleven and you came in, I'd be like, this guy, undercover cop.
Something suspicious.
Like, card this guy. Something's not right. Yeah, well, he's ordering peach schnapps, okay? Is he your grandpa? No. Yeah, card him.
Hey, man, I'll never forget, dude. The cop tried to, when I left that's the same as like you ever when you leave a bar and they get a cop to pull you over and they give you the whole DUI thing. Like I said, I wasn't even. I had one beer the entire time I'm there. Anyone who's ever drank with me would tell you that it's got to be a special occasion for me to really drink, which is what I was trying to explain to this guy. And I think it pissed him off worse because I wasn't drunk. Like he was like, they did the whole, they did the breathalyzer, all that. And I tried to tell him, yeah, I can't walk a straight line, all that. Let me out. And then the guy goes, why are you so freaked out, bro? They literally came out 4 of them and all of them got guns. I'm like, well, there's 4 of y'all. Y'all got guns. I'm not drunk. And we're doing a DUI thing. So you tell me.
I get it, man.
I'm just saying, even if they didn't do anything, which they didn't, fuck all that. I don't need that noise in my life.
So you passed your field sobriety test without any issues?
Thankfully.
Yeah. Said your ABCs backwards with like finger on your nose and like
I had to remember how to count backwards. Yeah, they did all that shit.
See, I'd be concerned if they actually make you do the alphabet backwards because I don't know.
There's no way.
And I had to be like A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, W.
One time they tried to get me to do that when I was driving home from work and I accidentally missed a number when I was counting backwards. And I'm like,
okay, how many times are you getting pulled over for a DUI?
No, that was like 4 years ago. No, that was like 4 years ago. And at the time I worked midnights. So
I was like, Kyle, there's a problem here. If you keep
No.
DUI.
No.
Hey.
See, an odd man said it himself. He said, I can't do that sober. Like I said, I was literally, bro, I had been up since 2:30 in the morning the night before. I was literally at 94 and Telegraph, just about to be at the crib. And then after all that, the guy wrote me up for tint. So again, I have no DUIs, but the guy wrote me up for tint. So I still got
Odd man out can't do that because all the fumes from all the paints and stuff he's using to make his props. So
okay, I can see that.
He's got a bit of a problem. He likes the smell of the paint. Oof. So he's sniffing. I'm joking, by the way, everybody.
Damn alphabet and letters. You gotta love it. Well, before we get to the wrestling side of things and everything that's going on, shout out to our sponsors, Potter's Tree Service. If you need your trees cut down, if you need storm cleanup, which it sounds like you might by the sounds of the thunder over here, hit up Potter's Tree Service. Tell them Knockouts and 3 Count sent you. I know Ace has been out there doing estimates all week. Check out the links in the description, and you'll be happy with what you get. That being said, we talked about it before we went live, dude. There's been a lot of shit going on in the wrestling world, both with AEW All Out, like I talked about. We just got back from there doing StarCast and all that stuff. But we had CM Punk got fired. I was in the building when they announced it. Like I was saying before we went live, it was honestly the most awkward wrestling crowd I've ever been in years and years of going to wrestling shows. And then you had WWE Payback. We'll talk about both of those. J-Bone, like I said, will be checking in. He's got a question for you as far as the CM Punk thing. But, man, out of everything that we've seen so far, what are your thoughts on CM Punk being out of AEW?
Well, that's wild, man. I didn't expect that to happen, but I also maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like maybe it's not all 100% legit. I mean, granted, there's heat or whatever, but I feel like when CM Punk came out, he was like the biggest face back again in wrestling, like the biggest deal. Awesome. And then they had whatever possibly went down between him and the Elite, where Tony Khan had to step in and be like, okay, you guys got to sit out for a little while. Okay. The amount of publicity that situation got is only like doubled or tripled by the situation that we're dealing with right now. So that's what leads me, like when I'm trying to help find stories for the morning show for Dave and Chuck, and something pops up that says something about CM Punk and the Young Bucks, which typically isn't the type of story that's going to get picked up on the sites that I'm checking for news. Like that's how you know it's a big deal. Now, I think there is a possibility that it could just all be a work. It could be part of the wrestling industry. This could be Tony Khan trying to make himself more of a character like what Mr. McMahon was for WWE. And it could just ultimately just be CM Punk is trouble, you know. But I feel like for a guy to be that respected in the industry and for that many people like to say good things about him, it's so weird that so much stuff is being leaked about what happened. Like when stuff goes down with WWE, you don't know
hear about it.
anything. Nobody says anything. But yet stuff's going down with AEW. This person's talking. This person who's not a wrestler is talking. This person who's friends with Samoa Joe's brother-in-law heard, this is what happened. It's just wild, the difference in the locker rooms with what could be. So for me, maybe he really did get fired, but I don't want to be like, oh, he got fired, and then you find out like, no, it was all part of the storyline to get some publicity, to get more eyeballs on the brand, the AEW brand. They just came off that huge show in the UK. I forget what they did, whatever they did.
All in, they had 81,000, and that's where him and Jungle Boy Jack got in the fight, I guess.
Yeah, and see, I don't even understand like what those guys have a problem with each other about. Like I know it's
so here's what happened. So when Jungle Boy had his match, it was a Falls Count Anywhere. He was fighting Hook for the FTW title. In the car that Jungle Boy hit the Senton on, it was real glass. And so Jungle Boy looked into the camera and was like, well, it's real glass, fuck it, and then jumped. And so I guess they were trying to say that Punk had said that they shouldn't use real glass or whatever. And then when they got in the back, apparently they had words, and then Jungle Boy walked up on CM Punk. CM Punk supposedly choked him out, and then that's where Tony Khan's saying that he felt, that he was in danger. Being in that,
I also feel sorry, man.
You're good
for all this. Like, if you're the owner of the company, do you take a chair out on stage and to make an announcement like that? Because I feel like the second you do that, bam, that's when the news about Punk exploded. I don't even remember. I'm trying to remember what exactly I was doing, but I know it's just out of the blue. I go to my wife. I'm like, CM Punk got fired. Like it just boom. Like blew up. And I feel like if you're running the company, you're the owner of the company and you're firing this guy, you don't have to go out on stage. You don't have to go out on stage and address it. You don't even have to address it until after the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
He was
they'd already put a statement.
Was he?
They already put a statement out too.
Okay.
You don't have to if you're Tony Khan, but and I was talking to Kyle about this beforehand, and Tony Khan's just such a quirky character that I feel like he didn't do himself any favors by the way he addressed it, but I feel like he ultimately felt like he needed to address it,
which they were going to have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
at some point, but like
you don't do it like right the night before you're big.
The day
well,
before
here's
the
my
show and stuff like. But at the same point, what's worse? Do you get the whole crowd to show up in expectation that he's going to be there, and then say, "Hey, sorry, we pulled the rug out from under you. You're half the reason why you guys are here isn't going to be here." Like,
was he booked in a match?
He didn't have any. He didn't have any match or anything. And here's the thing with that. So
this is Dick. This is James McMahon here. Too bad he wasn't there. How many times have you bought tickets to a wrestling show in Detroit?
Yeah.
Someone's going to be there, and they don't show. They're not there.
Well, and it says card subject to change on there because there were people that were like trying to get refunds and stuff. But like, so here's the thing. I think Tony Khan had to say something. My thing is, if it were me, I think he would have been better served if he would have just played the same video that everybody saw on TV. Had he just had that play up on the screen when the show started, because obviously they didn't play the intro like they normally do for Collision. So I think if you would have just played that on the screen for everybody else to see, I think it would have went fine. I respect him trying to go out and like trying to say something, but I feel like because it was more long-winded than what was, on the thing, I feel like, especially with it being Chicago, that's why I don't think it went as well as it could have. Also, I don't think the line of him saying that he was in fear for his life went over very well either, because everybody knows how big of a fan of CM Punk Tony Khan was. So, I mean, obviously Tony's in a bad spot, but on the other hand, it's like what I told Corey. It's weird because on one hand, when one guy is like at the center of all of these issues, like first there was the thing with the Young Bucks, then there's the thing with Jack Perry, there was also the thing with Hangman. At a certain point, when they're in the middle of it, you're not really leaving much option. And Tony said that he had a whole committee that went through it. So my thing is, at a certain point, you don't have a choice. But at the same hand, like Ryan McKinnell from Busted Open said on Tuesday, I also feel like a lot of the blame for these situations, whether it be the thing with the Bucks or the thing with Hangman or what we just saw or whatever happened with Jungle Boy, I think that you also have to put some of that blame on the other person too, because it's kind of like what Ryan said. He's like, somebody made the joke of the clip we made and he said, talk shit, get hit. I mean, if you talk trash to another dude and then walk up in his face and then you guys are jaw jacking, there's the chance that shit can get hairy.
Yeah, but not in a professional environment. It's one thing if you do that. It's one thing if
that would have done all the. We'd have had no problems there.
If you did that in the ring during a match, or even just rushed the stage and like got a on air kind of handled your beef and then ran off type of deal, build into a story and make something out of it. Don't just like. I know it's a grown man disagreement in the back, but it's professional wrestling. There's so many different ways you can handle a disagreement and literally be able to beat the crap out of each other. Why are we doing it, in the back where nobody can see? That's just it. It's not the move. And we, like you say, Kyle, with the history in this particular, person in CM Punk, He's clearly a brash personality, and whether that's an issue or not, whether he needs to maybe be separated from the rest of the talent pool while he's not actively working, that could be another thing. But either way, you got to handle yourself professionally. You can't be getting in fights every other fucking time you're in the back. That's
that's the part that's unarguable. You can't have that because you can't run a successful business. And even to kind of go off of what you said, James, like I'm sure, and I mean, listening to all the podcasts I have and having all the people that we've had on here, which if you guys are new here and are just checking us out for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But look, dude, fights happen. It's no different than it happens in MMA. It just happened in boxing with Caleb Plant and one of the Charlo brothers. I mean, dude, it happens all the time. So I'm not saying that shit like that just doesn't happen, but when it keeps happening, eventually it's going to be an issue. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I know all of the, this and that and the third, but I think ultimately they had to do it. I don't think necessarily that it was the best way to go about it. But with that being said, something that J-Bone was talking about. Oh shit, we got Jerry in the comments. Hang on. I always thought the brawl out might have been a work, but now I'm not sure. But apparently, what got Punk fired? And that's and that one only Tony Khan's gonna know. And I mean, if there really was a thing where him and Tony Khan got into it, or he went at Tony Khan or lunged at Tony Khan, or whatever it is that they're saying happened, only they know that. But if that's the case, I mean, I guess I can't say I blame Tony Khan for having to get rid of somebody. But I also agree with what Mark Henry said. Mark Henry said, well, now the problem's gone. Everything should be good. But like you said, Corey and James both, like the money that they're going to lose. Because one thing I can tell you is that at Collision, the night that they announced that he was gone, there was like nothing left on the merch stands once the show was over because all the Punk stuff was pulled. They kind of had merch out based on who was on each show. And man, they pulled everything. I know Pro Wrestling Tees had like $5 CM Punk stuff and all that stuff. So like it all went down in a hurry.
Like they marked it down once they announced that he was fired to try to like move it. Oh man, I missed out. I missed out. I could have bought a bunch and put it on eBay.
This guy's look at this guy thinking.
Yeah, man. I'll take advantage of CM Punk and his situation with AEW. If he doesn't want to make all that money, I'll make some money off of it.
Not that those guys are doing terrible off merch to begin with, right? But imagine doing that though. You expect to, you're in his hometown. Pro Wrestling Tees based out of Chicago. I'm sure.
Yeah, you're probably
they were
banking. You're probably
expecting some
banking
great
like
sales.
millions. You're
Yeah,
expecting millions, and now you're like, oh,
well, flash sale.
yeah, $5 a tee.
It
costs
just
us
wild.
$7 to make.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's just wild to think. Like I said, I mean, everybody, like you said, I remember where I was when he came back. I was in Nashville. We had Kelsey's wedding. I was getting ready to fly out to Vegas the next day to go to SummerSlam. Shout out to Mega Ran. And I remember having to make sure that I was back in the hotel room because it was the night he was supposed to come back. And the way that crowd just lost their shit, I was like, yo, this is dope. And even with
because it was like the worst kept secret of all time in pro wrestling that he was coming back. Because I was hosting a panel with Mick Foley at the Astronomicon out in Ann Arbor that night, and I remember everybody's like, "We got to get home to watch AEW. We know Punk's coming out." And like for me, I wasn't even watching wrestling when he was huge. Like I knew CM Punk as an MMA guy at first. I remember they talking about him being an MMA guy. And then I think he get like knocked out real quick a couple times, like boom, boom, 1-2.
He got choked out.
Okay,
yeah,
choked out.
His MMA just didn't go as well as what his professional wrestling career was doing.
Oh, certainly not. Although I give him a lot of credit because for a guy to jump in and then jump in on that level, like, I mean, granted, it wasn't like CM Punk was going to go through a bunch of regional fights, but I mean, Batista did, but dude. He did get muffed up, but he's still doing MMA commentary today for CFFC over there on UFC Fight Pass and stuff.
Oh, cool. Very cool. I didn't realize he was still involved.
I mean, I think he genuinely loved the stuff. I mean, even if you watch a lot of his stuff back in the day, you can see a lot of MMA influence. But I mean, like I was saying, I mean, the guy, see, I know CM Punk from Marvel comments. I mean, he had a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of people were excited for him to come back. He came back and had the fanfare, but like we've already mentioned, you can only have that go for so long. Like I said, that was weird, but All Out was a very good show. Danielson versus Ricky Starks in a strap match. Holy fuck, did they beat the shit out of each other. That by far was my favorite match of the card. Shout out to our guy Shane Taylor finally getting up on the big stage, taking on Samoa Joe for the television title. That was dope to see. We saw the debut of CJ Perry, aka Lana, with Miro and AEW. And then you had Kenny Omega and Takeshita, which was good. So all in all, I mean, like I would think most people would agree with AEW pay-per-views. It was an overall good pay-per-view. Like what you got was a good pay-per-view. I just don't think that it had the hype that it could have. But J-Bone's got
they did it a weekend after
literally
show
a week
of the company's history,
I've said I think it should have been like a month or like
and
they'd have been fine.
As somebody who was in attendance, do you feel like that took away from it? Do you think they added to it being able to build upon stories?
I think it should have been a month. I don't think it was a bad show. I think it was a great show, but I think if you'd have gave it a month to build and then think about, Shane well enough at this point, Corey. Mm-hmm. You're telling me a month of Shane talking shit to Samoa Joe and Samoa Joe going back at him wouldn't have built that match to where everybody would have been like, yo, I want to see these two big bastards fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's this guy making? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or even with the MJF thing, I think MJF and Cole is probably the best story they got over there in AEW. And it would have gave you, time to kind of build into it. I personally think, no disrespect to the Dark Order, but I think that should have been Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, past guest of the show, Mike Bennett, because, they used to be the Kingdom and all that stuff. But hey, what do I know? But with that said, I mean, all in all, dude, the show itself was really good. But J-Bone raises a very big question because with CM Punk getting fired, technically I would think that would mean he wouldn't have a no-compete clause. So with that being said, J-Bone is checking in even though he's over there at Pine Knob. He's got a question for you as well. Let me pull it up on the screen. There you go. Play. There. Let it get it to play on there. It was on there. Hang on. There it is. Play.
Nope, no audio.
Oh, you can't hear the audio?
Nope.
That is a great question, J-Bone. Let me ponder that for a moment.
Yeah, it didn't work. I don't know why you can't hear the audio. Usually it plays fine. But what he was asking was if there is no no compete clause, if you're WWE, do you take a chance on picking CM Punk back up? Like, let's say he said for like a 6-month run. So say because Survivor Series is in Chicago, with how nuclear it just was, with the fact that they were that pissed that they got rid of him like that. If you're WWE, do you pick him up again, given everything that's happened? Because let's not forget, he also left under similar circumstances from there as well. Not fighting somebody, but he wasn't very happy when he left.
I think there's a conversation that the chairman and the creative and everybody is going to have a conversation about. You know, I'm sure it would be discussed. Absolutely. I feel like with WWE, you know, there's never say never with those guys. You know, I feel like if the money was right, they'd put Saddam Hussein in the ring, you know, and have him maybe win a match. So
I can't argue that, man, because the one thing, like you said, is
that's a bad reference, but I didn't know where else to go.
The Iron Sheik, bro. The Iron Sheik. We'll go.
Oh, R.I.P. baby, come on.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying. But that said, with him, I could see it because, like you were saying earlier, I just feel like if he were to go back to WWE, I don't think WWE allows shit like that to happen. Like, I don't think you see anybody doing like what Jungle Boy did. You know, like saying that with the glass. I don't think, like you said, if it was like that, we're not hearing about that until he's gone. Now, granted, if he had gotten let go from WWE, I'm sure at some point the stuff would start to come out. But like you said,
I mean, I feel like the stuff you hear Stone Cold Steve Austin talk about on his interview show from other wrestlers, like that's when you hear about all the shit and all the dirt that went down, that stuff. You know, with AEW, you hear about it on the internet the next day. It's just crazy.
Yeah, like
I mean,
it's
hard to argue that.
It very well could be a tactic just to try to drum up attention because, like you say, I know the internet's a lot different than it used to be. You know, back when WWE was in their heyday. You know, I mean. But that being said, to your point, even now, it doesn't seem like they have the immediate internet repercussions that AEW lives with on just like a daily basis. Every time anything happens with them, it's always like, and is that just simply like they're trying to, you know, push the little guy down and somebody's like pushing this message out and then everybody's running with it? Or I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, dude, there's always been stuff that leaks in wrestling, but I feel like
but
the
to
only
their degree though,
the only point
like
I'm trying to and the only point we're trying to make like that's the whole point we're trying to make. Just the difference in between WWE and that is that it just seems like it's out there much more. I think the product that AEW puts out is good. I enjoy what I see. Like I had a good time at All Out and all that stuff. But like you guys both have said at this point, it's hard not to say that, you know, like it's crazy how all that stuff comes out like that or things like that happen. Because like I said, again, it kind of goes back to what Mark Henry said. Well, now CM Punk's gone. So if anything else happens, well, then clearly there was a bigger problem than, you know, there was a bigger problem to just Punk. Because like I said, to me, blame for what happened with that kind of lands on both sides. Because on one hand, Punk's the common denominator. On the other hand, I also understand the grown man walking up on you and you telling people like, look, if we got a problem, handle it. Then I don't think the workplace is the place for it. But at the same time, sometimes shit happens. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I hope all in all he's doing all right. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But it was definitely a gnarly way to do All Out. But you know, that wasn't the only pay-per-view we had this weekend. Payback was fucking I gotta say, not to be like negative of any kind, dude, but like I didn't really expect a ton going into Payback. But I gotta tell you, dude, Some of the things that jumped off the page for me was off the rip. The first match they had on the card, that cage match between Trish and Becky, dude.
Dude, the first match of the night was the match of the night. The match of the night was the first one. They kicked off the show with it.
Can't argue
there wasn't any touching that match after that. I thought it was a great match.
The story, the match, all of it.
Dude, I thought they did a great job. I love the spots that they did. Even though I knew like Trish wasn't going to fall off that cage, I saw her put her lock her legs in there. But I was like, oh my god, she's hanging off the cage, man. Pull her back in, like they had me. I thought it was a great match overall. The giant welt on Trish Stratus's forehead, and I mean for her to have done what she's done in the WWE in the past. And then to be able to come back and pull off a match like that now, that's incredible. Like, it's very, very impressive. I thought the match was great. I thought easily was the match of the night.
Yeah, it's kind of unarguable. It's kind of hard to argue that at all. And what was crazy about it is like we were talking about with the story on the AEW side of things. I mean, think about the story that was told with that. Because you also had Zoe Stark with her, and then what they had at the end after all that was over, where she smacks Zoe Stark, and Zoe Stark shuts the door, and after them being joined at the hip for the last 6 months, Zoe Stark left her laying. So not only do you have that badass of a match, Zoe Stark gets over in the process. The whole story, the match, all of it, I can't argue that. As far as that pay-per-view, definitely was probably my favorite match of the night. The only other one that could have come close at all probably would have been the tag team championship match. I feel like
I thought that was an okay match, but like I know like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as a tag team to me, I don't have a lot of excitement around it. I think because I feel most recently they were just at ends with each other. They hated each other. I know they're boys, but like the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as the undisputed tag team champions, I was happy to see them take the belts off the Usos, but I didn't really feel like they needed them, and I almost feel like it's better to see them on Judgment Day. I feel like they'll be able to do more with Judgment Day having those titles than Sammy and Kevin. But match overall was cool. I mean, they paid homage to the Penguins because they were in Pittsburgh, putting on the hockey gear and bringing some hockey sticks in, and bringing in a couple of Canadian boys, bringing in their love of hockey and their love of pro wrestling. So I'm sure that that was good. I was surprised at the outcome. I didn't think that Finn and Priest would be able to pull that off. At least in my mind, I just didn't think like, it's going to be Kevin and Sammy until the next pay-per-view,
Well, especially with the whole JD McDonough thing, I thought that there was a good chance with as much as they've kind of been button heads going into this, that there very well could be with it being a no rules match like that, where he could come out again and try to help him and then screw it up. But man, talk about taking a bullet for somebody. That power bomb that he took off the table from Kevin Owens, bro. The table didn't break. His body just kind of like you've seen Kevin Owens do the pop-up power bomb, Corey. Like, I mean, he gets a lot of momentum into it because he's tossing you up and then bringing you down. And like I said, the table didn't snap at all. And I'm just like, oh shit. Like, that just looked gnarly. I feel like it would have been better for him if the table would have broke, but damn. My man's took a bullet. So if he really is trying to get in the Judgment Day, dude, I mean, son of a bitch. I feel like he made his sacrifice.
He's earned it with that one.
Yeah, dude. That was like his beat in, dude, because damn, that my man's has been taking some bullets the last couple weeks, and the new senior Money in the Bank case that he gave him on Raw was pretty sweet. The all purple. Yeah, that was pretty badass. And they already got it on WWE Shop. Leave it at the WWE, get you your purple Money in the Bank case.
You know how to make that money.
I was gonna say
another reason why they would consider bringing CM Punk in there. That's going to make money.
I can't argue that, man. Like, at this point with the Bloodline breaking up, I mean, it makes sense for the Judgment Day to be, the dominant in the WWE right now. I think if you pay attention, I think Rhea Ripley's the one that's ultimately pulling the strings, because even if you peep like the little things on Raw, like when her and Dom are sitting there and she's like, well, we'll do the other thing later. Like, once everybody kind of leaves out the way. I think she kind of senses the dissension in the ranks and's kind of got her own exit strategy just in case shit goes south.
Actually, that's a good theory, and especially with the little whispers, she was whispering in Dom's ears.
You gotta love it, and that's what WWE is good for, dude. Is laying the Easter eggs, and ultimately, I think Rhea is the biggest star right now. But like Bree said in the comments, man, that group from where they started, and then when Edge left and Finn came in, I didn't know how the Judgment Day was gonna end up, but for them to be where they're at now. I mean, dude, people are like, oh, I don't like them. You're not supposed to like them. They're a heel. Yeah. Like, Dom gets the most heat in pro wrestling right now, bar none, period. Maybe next to MJF. But like I said, those two, dude, like I said, Dom is doing his thing. And I feel like we already know that it's inevitable that at some point Priest and Finn are going to implode on each other at some point. But in the meantime, dude, I'm glad anyone who's watched the show for any length of time, shout out to you guys. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. I've been singing the praises of Damian Priest for a long time, since he was Punishment Martinez and Ring of Honor, through the stuff that he did with Bad Bunny. I think him as Senior Money in the Bank, I like seeing him elevated. And like we've said, I can't argue that, sir. I'm sure he's talking about Rhea Ripley.
I mean, unless he's talking about, what are you talking about right now? I'm trying to think. Who? Unless he's talking about Finn Balor or
I would hope he's talking about Ripley.
Yeah, he's talking about Dominic Mysterio.
I mean,
he likes his.
I would hope it's Ripley, but with that said, I like I said, at this point, it's kind of hard not to be fans of that. And then I got to know, what'd you think of Seth and Shinsuke? Before you give your answer, it was just nice to see Shinsuke actually looked at as a fucking threat again for a change. Because, like, Shinsuke in NXT was badass. Shinsuke in Japan, when they let him go over there and fight the Great Muta at Noah earlier this year, was badass because that was Shinsuke as Shinsuke should be. What'd you think of what we saw with Seth and Shin?
I mean, to me, I thought the match was kind of dull.
Hey, yo.
I didn't, and I don't think it didn't do much for me, especially with it as like the main event. I felt going into it like Seth's gonna walk out the champ still. Oh, you talking about my peach? Yeah. Well, Rhea Ripley's peach is by far much nicer than mine, and I'm not saying that because she could beat my ass if I didn't. It's also the truth. But yeah, I thought the match was just okay. I felt like I knew what the outcome was going to be. I do think they did make Shinsuke look much more tough and a bit more of a threat, like you said. But I miss Shinsuke with Boogs. With him and Boogs, when Boogs would fucking rock the guitar, like that to me was like the great, like almost as much as I love John Cena. I loved when Boogs would come out and play the guitar, and then he'd use the guitar as a distraction. I think it's more so my love of Boogs, but indirectly, my love of Boogs led to me liking Shinsuke for that reason. But yeah, I mean,
I can see that, especially with you being a newer fan too. I could see that.
Yeah. So, Shinsuke is like, even when I used to do like Nerd Radio, the Nerd Radio podcast over at WRIF, before that went away, like I never really got Shinsuke. He was just okay. He's just one of those, oh, he's on, okay, cool. I could take it or leave it type of characters.
Let me fill you in as to why, for me personally, it was dope to kind of see like the old shades of Shinsuke. So before Shinsuke came in, big star in New Japan, he had the Intercontinental Championship for a while. Then they brought him over to WWE. He was the champ in NXT for a long time, back when it was NXT Black and Gold and when everybody was loving NXT. Mm-hmm. Then they brought him up here he had the big title match at WrestleMania 34. Ring the bell. Stay tuned. There might be a t-shirt for that. But that being said, they just never really it would be start and stop. And then, like you said, then he did the Rick Boogs thing, which then at that point, it became more about Shinsuke's entrance more so than Shinsuke, the competitor. Mm-hmm. So for me, they started the year by having him go back to Japan, and he went to Pro Wrestling Noah and faced the Great Muta in one of the Great Muta's last matches, which it was dope to see Shinsuke kind of back in that original form, which that's why I'm saying with them doing this against Seth, I liked the way that he brought up what the tattoo on Seth's back meant. And, Seth, leaning into the, oh, I know about your back, to me, those are the things that make matches good.
They framed the match and set the match up beautifully. I thought they did a great job with that because I feel like we've seen Seth and Shinsuke before. I feel like we've seen Seth and Shinsuke in a title match before. I could be wrong, but I feel like I've seen this before, and but I think the way they framed it and the way they built up to the match was fantastic. But for me overall, just the match was just, again, like I could take it or leave it because I'm still thinking about that cage match that started the whole pay-per-view off 3 hours ago,
You try to start it hot, end it hot, but that cage match, man, like I was watching it, after I got out of Collision, I was sitting out there in the parking lot at the hotel watching it on my phone, and dude, like you said, just from start to finish, man, Trish and Becky really put on a hell of a show. I mean, look, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that it could be a match of the year candidate. So it was nice to see that again on the female side of things. You know what I mean? With as much, we got to interview Chris Statlander, your AEW TBS champion, and she talked about, the criticism that they've got on the women's division because the lack of time they've gotten and things like that. That match brought a lot of bringbacks to, really good women's wrestling. Like, to me, it was like the little things. I don't know if you peeped this, but did you peep the throwback to Victoria with the Widow's Peak? And then when Becky hit the twist of fate from Lita, I thought that was so cool just for the simple fact that everybody knows that Trish and Lita are like best friends and all that stuff. So for it to be the other way around with Trish being the heel, because that was the other thing that had me cracking up on social media. It's funny how the same wrestling fans that'll like talk shit on Twitter and be like the keyboard warriors and all that. Some guy was kind of heckling. Did you peep the guy that was heckling Trish as she went to get in the cage? And then she stops and turns around and is like, how about you shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
And then got in the cage. And then everybody's like, oh, that's not the Trish I remember. She's a heel. Like, if you think that's bad back in the day, dude, like, if you think that's bad shit, even in the Attitude Era, you'd have gotten a lot more than that. So, like, I mean, to me, I got no problem with that. Like, you sit in the front row and you're going to heckle them, well, then you kind of open yourself up to it.
I thought you should be ready for it. Like, when I was in the front row and I was booing the shit out of Drew McIntyre, like booing him, the most obnoxious I could ever be. And he walks right up to you, gets right in your face, but doesn't even look. He doesn't look at you. He looks right through you. Like, you don't even fucking exist, man. And like, I even told my wife, I'm like, that was scary.
So what's your beef with Drew McIntyre? I've met the guy.
At the time, he was a heel.
Cool.
He was a heel. He was with Dolph Ziggler at the time. So,
okay.
Like,
all right. We got to have the context. Okay, I get it. You didn't like him at the time. Do you like the Scottish Warrior side of Drew?
Yeah,
McIntyre?
I'll cheer him. I have no issues with
I missed the sword. The sword was kind of cool. But
yeah.
I want a sword like that. So, but all in all, dude, it was.
They're gonna card you for it. I'm gonna check your ID. I mean, make sure you're old enough to buy that sword still.
There's worse things in the world. Like I said, I'm gonna be turning 31 here in about 2 weeks. So with me getting older, it's okay that they're gonna still card me. It's all right. I'm not gonna be upset about it. I mean, I used to kind of be like, what the fuck? I'm not 21, but I mean, as I get older, it might be all right. I mean, it's pretty funny.
You got that undercover cop look. That's why.
It's all good, even though I, for one, am the one who's always saying I want to just keep my ass away from the cops, but that's a story for another time. But I don't know, man. All in all, I feel like Payback was a good show. AEW All Out was a fun weekend. Shout out to TK Trinidad and StarCast for TK Trinidad, meeting her down there. You might see her on the show soon. Shout out to StarCast for the opportunity and all that stuff. And I mean, like I said, Payback was a good show. I'm interested to see kind of where we go. If you saw Dominic go over to Jey Uso, I got to ask you about that before we get out of here. What did you think about Cody being the one to come announce Jey Uso, and then them making it like Cody's stroke is what got him over there to Raw? And 2, what are your thoughts about them actually splitting the Usos?
You know what? I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it, because I have no idea how they were going to dismantle the bloodline. In my view, they're going to bring The Rock in, and he's just going to beat Roman Reigns and everybody else who's kind of getting out of line from the bloodline at a WrestleMania. So that was what my brain. I'm like, the only way they can get rid of Roman Reigns is if The Rock comes in. The Rock's got to come in on WrestleMania and defeat Roman Reigns in the bloodline, and then restore order to WWE. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. I don't know. I think I caught the tail end of it. I don't know if they announced who's going to be going from Raw now to SmackDown. Like, is that going to?
Well, Jay's on Raw.
Yeah. But Adam Pearce said because he's coming over to Raw, SmackDown's going to get somebody now.
Okay, that they haven't answered yet. But I think that's how Cody gets back to SmackDown. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense as to why Cody would be the one to do that, because then it gives a way for Cody to be back on the same show.
His out to get over.
That's his way to get. At least that's what I'm guessing.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't know anything. I don't know what's going to happen, but just off of what I see, I would almost bet that that's the out. That Cody goes over to SmackDown so that he can be back over there against Roman. Because ultimately, like I've said multiple times on this damn show, that if Cody's going to win the belt, it's got to be from Roman at this point. I don't want to see him beat Seth because he already beat Seth. Because of the way that match went at WrestleMania, it's got to be Roman, or it's not the same story to me.
No, I agree. I think that's a great idea. Because when you asked me what I thought was like, I don't know. I'm not a creative writer, man. I just like to react to the reality that they're presenting to me on the TV. I don't know what to predict. So then I went with my Rock theory from last WrestleMania.
I don't think they need him at this point. I thought that was the way they had to go for a long time, especially with the bloodline and the family and the story and all that. Mm-hmm. I thought that was something that was going to happen. But to be honest, and kudos to WWE, I want to see Cody do it now more than I do The Rock come in because of the story. I mean, I want to see Cody if Cody finishes his story. Now, if they go to this and Cody loses again, they've totally fucked Cody Rhodes. Like, I got nothing left. If Cody goes to 2 WrestleManias and loses to this fucking guy after he's been champion for 3 years, I love wrestling, but I mean, if he loses twice, I don't know how you can convince me that he's going to win, especially when he had the run of matches he had with Seth Rollins and all that. How do you build the guy back to the title again if he loses again?
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, man. That's what makes pro wrestling good. We'll have to see what's going on. Before we get out of here, I had one more question for you in the comments that was a pretty good one. Shout out to Cody, big fan, James.
What up, Cody? Thanks for
he's always playing It's Friday Bitches every week on Snapchat. Let's see. Jerry had it. Where's it at? There you go. So he said he's been a big fan of the show since the 89X days. So am I. I miss 89X as it used to be. That being said, were you guys inspired by Opie and Anthony at all?
I mean, 89X days? I don't think so. I mean, I used to listen to Opie and Anthony. Back, like, we're talking years, man. This is like before I moved to Arizona, when Opie and Anthony was a thing. I think those Opie and Anthony were great shock jocks, I guess, is what they. I guess that's what they refer to our show as sometimes, is those shock jocks, Dave and Chuck the Freak. Were they inspired? I don't think so. I think from what I gather and from my experience around them, they had funny stories and they wanted to find a way to make people laugh, and this was the route that they took. And they were finding stuff that some shows were too scared to kind of talk about, or some program directors would allow other shows to talk about. And so they kind of just took, that chance and went with it, and it worked. So, but I can't say that anything that they've done or we've done has been directly inspired by Opie and Anthony. I don't know if that was Jerry, if he has something specific, maybe that made him have that inkling. Let me know, and maybe I could clarify that if I was around. But I mean, everybody listened to Stern, dude. Stern was like the radio god, man. Like I've owned the man's movie on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. Like, like it's his story is like that's a story everybody wishes they could live and to become that big in the industry or to be a part of a show that big, So, but yeah, to my knowledge, no direct inspiration from Opie and Anthony. I don't even know if Dave and Chuck actually listened to Opie and Anthony. I know I did because at the time I had a subscription to a radio service that would allow me to hear their program. I never heard them on terrestrial radio, I don't think. I'm trying to remember. Or maybe they were on in Detroit for a little while around the same time when like all the stations. Sorry, I'm taking everybody back to like radio history. But there was a while where some stations were flipping to all talk. It was all talk format. So they'd have like a lineup of shock jocks throughout the day. Shock jocks. Some of them were more shocking than others. Some of them were just like big names in the city that people would tune in and they could sell advertising on the show. But I feel like Opie and Anthony I was listening to more on like a subscription radio service than I was terrestrial. But I don't believe anything that they've done was inspired by that. So they've kind of like they had to put a lot of the stuff like they were making, like programmers were making other morning shows do. They kind of like turned their backs to that. Was kind of trying to do their own thing or try to put their own spin on everything from what I witnessed and from what I was around. So
hell yeah, man. Well, all I know is that I enjoy it. Clearly, Cody enjoys it, and plenty of people other around Detroit and soon to be Las Vegas and the other places that you mentioned. So before I let you get out of here, man, what's next for JC? Let everybody know where they can find you, and we got to make sure the next time I don't wait so long to hit you up for another show.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey man, I get it. It's tough for me to get on, so don't feel like you're taking too long. It's I'm on vacation this week. That's why I'm able to stay up past 8:30 to talk wrestling with you guys. But what's next for me, man? I'm working on launching like a print-on-demand T-shirt shop. It's got artwork that I've created or that I've curated. I just launched some football inspired.
Dude, I saw that. That's dope.
Yeah,
Detroit area. This is a Mutant League football inspired design. Trying to get some of the football fans some cool shit to wear.
Hey, I'd buy that shirt.
And then I'd buy that shirt.com. You can get one for yourself. And then we have
see what I did there?
These football cats. We got these Detroit football cats. Yeah, look at that. Like so these are the two newest designs we have on the store, but that's pretty much what I'm working on building. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/WhotheFisJC. I do a lot of food reviews now. That's what I'm finding traffic on. So if you're looking for a snack food and want to see if I've tried it, what's it taste like, check those out. I also do these little short, either between 60 to 90-second snack reviews called Snack Attacks. So you can find those there. But other than that, man, the day job. Weekday mornings, Dave and Chuck the Freak, daveandchuckthefreak.com. If you're in Detroit, 101 WRIF is the station to hear us. You can find us in Boston, Fort Myers, Tampa, the Carolinas, Saginaw, somewhere in Indiana, as well as Las Vegas. So we're taking over the country still. We're working on it. And but yeah, that's the main one, man. daveandchuckthefreak.com. I owe those guys pretty much my career, man. So if not for them giving me the opportunity to do some man on the street stuff back in the day and showcasing some of my sense of humor, you wouldn't be talking to me right now. I would just be another guy, just bitching about wrestling on Twitter.
Well, with that being said, dude, thank you for being a cool enough dude that we've shot the shit like that. At this point, you and I have known each other for a couple years, thanks to Astronomicon and all the different interviews that have come out of there. Everybody is seeing the Devon Dudley one that we did at the last, not the last Astronomicon, the one before that, since we had to do the second go of it. But yeah, dude, I appreciate you always being cool to come through the show and drop some advice and some knowledge on your boy.
Yeah, dude, it's always good to catch up. It's good to chat with both you guys. Sorry, J-Bone, you were out rocking out to Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie. I hope it was a good show. Hope the rain held off.
I hope they got to play. Yeah, I hope they got to play.
Well, who knows? Rob Zombie, that crazy son of a bitch, you'd be like, you know what? They're going to delay us for an hour. We'll just play an hour past curfew, and I'll pay the fine or whatever. I think.
Remember, Five Finger Death Punch did that one time, and he said they paid like $10,000 is what they had to pay for.
Yeah, there's like a huge fines for going over, and I think there was one year. I think like Rob Zombie, it was like the last show at DTE. And I think he played way past the curfew. It cost him like 20 grand. I was like, wow. I don't even know how much you get paid. I don't know what your guarantee is to show up, Rob Zombie. Right. But if you could just kiss 20 grand away to play. Hey. Sorry, guys. Hey, if I'm Rob Zombie, you didn't get to hear more Human Than a Human.
So
my last
we
song.
asked.
Gotta go.
I don't know if you've ever asked all these people that you guys talk about this, but we actually asked Chris Cale about that because ironically, it was Riff Fest is the reason why Chris Cale came on our show in the first place, because me and my dad went to go see Five Finger Death Punch. My dad crashed the car on the way to the show, and then we still ended up going. And then Chris Cale ended up being coached by our guy and past guest of the show, Justin James, and he heard the story and then was like, wait a minute, you guys crashed and then still came to the show. We'll do it whenever. So when they came on, I asked, you're not kidding, dude. And then when they came back, he brought us backstage, and I don't know if you can see it here. Look what's on my wall.
Oh, very cool. Nice.
So
very cool.
Yeah, dude. So shout out to Chris and Five Finger Death Punch. But I did ask him about that, and he said, see, that doesn't come out of my pocket. He said that comes out of Ivan's pocket. So I don't know. Maybe Rob Zombie is rolling in the dough from all the horror movies and all the shit that he's got going on. So maybe he's got the bucks like that to just be like, fuck it, we're going to pay extra $10,000.
I'm sure he could probably dry his tears with $100 bills. So.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Cost you a Cadillac to play a couple extra songs. I'd be like, I'm going to keep the Cadillac.
He's got too many living dead girls.
Hey,
but
you got to appreciate the dedication of the music at least.
That's true. That's true. And that, you know what that really shows? Sorry, there was a little like spit on the TV monitor. It was driving me nuts. It shows how much you care about your fans, really. Like,
yep.
You're gonna take a pay cut to play the songs, knowing that the songs that they came to see, that's cool. And from what I understand, I've never actually met Rob Zombie, but from the few people that I know that have, super down to earth, super nice, very generous and humble guy. So makes sense, that he's gonna put on the show for that much longer.
I agree. And I mean, the thing is with it being Alice Cooper this time, he's another guy. Holy shit. I remember my dad being a fan of Alice Cooper, and he's still going in these days. Plus, I still got to check him out before I die because his concerts, I've always heard he's got like the crazy stage show.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that stage show that was absolutely wild at DTE tonight. Well,
I bet, yeah. I bet you used to always call it Pine Knob too when it was DTE. Now you're like, now it's DTE. Now
dude, yeah. I can't help it, dude. It's fucking me up. Yeah. I always called it Pine Knob, then I started calling it DTE. Now it's Pine Knob again. Sometimes it's DTE for me, sometimes it's Pine Knob, but
that's why I love that Blink 182 was making fun of that. I don't know if that was at the last when I just saw them recently, or if it was before in the past. But I know Mark Hoppus has made jokes about the name of the amphitheater, we'll say, up in Clarkston. So
either way, J-Bone's got he's got the plug on that, being that close over there to Pine Knob. But like I said, man, I always appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, man.
Like
I said, a good time with you guys.
Hell yeah. Check him out every morning. You got Dave and Chuck the Freak do their thing. 101 The Riff. If you're here in Detroit, if you're at Riff Fest, come check out me, Corey, and J-Bone. And since it's my birthday, buy me a drink.
Yeah, go buy him a drink. 923 at Pine Knob. Don't go to DTE. Go to Pine Knob, 923. Tickets. So go buy that man a drink.
Hell yeah.
Enjoy in the meantime, vacation, man.
Yes, sir. In the meantime and in between time, hit that subscribe button. Check us out this Thursday. We'll be talking more about what happened in Chicago. If you guys haven't done so yet, Chris Stantlander, all the stars of AEW, StarCast 6. Check them out. Peace.